Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Wednesday, June 28th. And again, we are at the final week of the final month in the second quarter, meaning next week starts quarter three. So a lot of quote unquote wrapping up for a lot of funds and traders this week. So no surprise that we're still seeing sideways price action for the most part. BTC still above 30K. Starting with DXY as we typically do, we did spike back up to that 103 level. Of course, still getting stalled at that level above 103, probably going to attack that 103.6 level, and a confirmed rejection off 103 probably end up, back down to this 102.5, 102.4 level. If we get above 103, would expect some more bearishness from risk. It's been kind of capped in this range. So if we break out, it may spark a little bit of fear. So something to watch out for there, but, no real immediate decision there. I will say, spike overnight definitely led to some bearishness in equities and had a bit of a spike this morning, but still hovering near, where we were talking when we spoke yesterday. But, the first target that we had for this rise was, of course, this 44.25 level. And then we said 44.40 was possible. So we already grabbed this level, and we are obviously seeing rejection, but also seeing price hold pretty strong here for equities above the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average, and of course above the weekly VWAP, which are good signs. So it's kind of like a double tweezer here. So this could be a double bottom. Wouldn't fade this yet for equities, but obviously if it breaks below, I'd probably wait for a break below the VWAP. And if that happens, then probably end up grabbing 43.80, possibly all the way down to 43.60, 43.70. Before, probably pausing again and either, doing one of these things, coming back up above the range, but, we may not even get down to that level. So, cause, it does look a little bit bullish on lower timeframes from that perspective. So something to be aware of there. I would say equities probably still end up grabbing this 44.40 level that we talked about yesterday. Remember, 44.25 was first, then 44.40. But if we do see a third rejection up here at the 44.25 level, then I would expect us to end up doing something like that. So in my opinion, it's not a clear long until you break above the 44.25 level, and it's not a clear short, in my opinion, until you break probably below like 4,400. At minimum, maybe 43.98. So looking at Bitcoin, we can see, again, it's still 30K is right where my cursor is. And obviously, multiple taps at this 30K level, still not breaking. So definitely a good sign for the bulls. But the difficulty is, this VWAP has been a lot of trouble, as has the 31K level up here. So Bitcoin will not be moving higher until 31K is broken. And you really need to break 31.5, but obviously 31K being the first level for strength. But to even get up there, what you first need to do, in my opinion, is break above 30.5, which is, just above the VWAP and right around these equal highs right here. And then you will end up, first attacking 30.6, I should say, and then 31K, which you'll either accept or end up rejecting. And then on the flip side, which does look like we're creeping lower, but obviously still holding that 30K level, if we break below 30K, the first stop I would say is 29.8. And then if we break below 29.8, we would definitely hit this 29.5 level, which coincides with the lows from back on June 22nd. So for me, Bitcoin just in a holding pattern. I shorted actually Ethereum and Matic up here around the 30.4 level, which I'll explain once we get to the ETH chart, but not really shorting Bitcoin too much. I think alts are probably the better shorts, and Bitcoin is the better long play, depending on which direction you are trading in. So in my opinion, weary of Bitcoin shorts, focusing on the high beta assets, which of course are, Ethereum and the altcoins. So when we talk about, Bitcoin heading lower, probably not going to be shorting it, but if you do expect it to head lower, probably better to short an altcoin, which is going to move at a high degree. I mean, we see CFX 10%, Chlo 4%, Canto 2%, BNB 2%, Blur 8%, you know, and these are all around just a 1.5% Bitcoin move. So obviously these are high beta assets compared to Bitcoin. I mean, the list can go on. DOT, Doge, Didex, Elon, ENJ, ENS, ETC, ETH, Flex, File, you know, the list goes on. So better to short the alts than Bitcoin. But in my opinion, you know, if the 30K level is lost, 29.8 and then 29.5 are the first targets. And then things get hairy if we break below 29.5. But I have a feeling you'll see a pretty big fight for Bitcoin strength in this little window right here, in my opinion. So, I'm bearish alts is probably the easiest way to just to talk about my opinion. So let's move over to ETH. So, you know, you talked about, you know, bearish, you know, chop for the most part for altcoins and ETH. Mentioned that in the Trading Rebellion show on Monday. It's clearly what we've got. ETH obviously breaking below this support level of 1860. Now we do have these equal lows down here for at 1830, 1840. It's called 1840 for a nice round number. And of course, we could still, you know, see some sort of double bottom and then launch back up to the 1860 level. If we do break below this level right here, then you'd probably see something like this, where, you know, drop a little bit lower, grab it back, and then move lower. But, you know, one thing that I would definitely look out for is this would probably be a decent support level. And then we have this kind of little range right here to potentially trade in. So if we break back into this, you know, break back below the 1828 level, probably expect, you know, somewhere around 1800 to act as some sort of level of support. And then if that fails, then you're dipping into the 1700s right here. I probably wouldn't expect, you know, a giant red candle like this out of nowhere, but you never know. Things do look a little bit bearish, but I'm obviously always, you know, weary of shorting Reddit support as well. I'll show you why I shorted earlier. And it was this bearish engulfing candle right here. So I'll zoom in a little bit. You know, when we, you know, very early this morning, it was, you know, if you can get above the 1865 level, then you can grab the VWAP maybe all the way up to 1890. But obviously we had this massive bearish engulfing candle. So I added a short, you know, right around 1860. And I'm currently writing that down. I took a little bit of profit at 1850. And then if we confirm below 1850, then I'll probably add a little bit back to then target all the way down potentially to this 1828 level. So that's my opinion. So if you're looking at the ETH versus Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin's certainly not looking bullish, but if you're going to short one or the other, ETH definitely looks worse in my opinion. And the ETHBTC chart is continually backing that up. I'll get rid of a lot of these because these are kind of stale. Let's get rid of this, and then let's zoom out. So as you can see here, you know, actually I'm going to go to the daily because I mean, this is a pretty big freaking chart. So, you know, as you can see, it's now looking like it's confirming below, you know, it could definitely still deviate, but, you know, if you're going to short, screw it, you know, you might as well get it over with. So it's certainly not looking positive in my opinion. You know, I still wouldn't get too overzealous because it's still holding this level, this 0.61 level pretty strong, but it doesn't look very good in my opinion. So I think ETH is, you know, again, you know, I'm always weary about shorting at the lows. Never think it's a good idea to short anything at the lows unless there's like crazy bearish news, like, you know, the US is going to outlaw Ethereum. That would, then I'd short, you know, no matter what area we're at. But right now, you know, we're hovering right around this level. Your next target would be 1828. So, you know, probably best to just hold off a little bit, play a little bit safer, and then you know, jump back in if, you know, let's say the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average, if we get rejected there, if we get rejected back at 1860, probably a great short down to 1828. But, you know, if you are in a short from higher, best to take a little bit of profit. And then if we, you know, jump back up a little bit, you can add, unless, you know, maybe if we get an hourly engulfing, then I'm definitely cutting everything, getting rid of it. But in my opinion, you know, especially with the Sailor news and stuff, you know, things not looking extremely positive right now. So, don't get too bearish, because again, this could just be a short-term move towards the end of the week. And remember, we have PCE on Friday, and Jerome Powell speaks again tomorrow, which kind of adds to a little bit of potential bearishness. GDP revision should be higher, so that could also be something positive for the markets. If we do get a GDP revision higher, maybe we get a little bit of a spike after some of this crypto bearishness. And then we have PCE on Friday. So PCE, of course, is going to be the big number, comes very early. So if we have a bearish day today, we have a bearish day tomorrow, heading into the end of the month, maybe we have a little bit of buyback to bring some equilibrium to price action. And then, and then we head into the weekend, and, after, a bit of bearishness. So there's a million ways to interpret this. And obviously equities look much different than crypto. Ethereum looks like this, Bitcoin looks like this, and equities are trying to, reclaim one of their recent high levels. So, it's really tough to read this, but I'm bearish altcoins. I am neutral Bitcoin, if that makes sense. So I will not be shorting Bitcoin. We'll only be attempting to long Bitcoin, but I will be shorting Ethereum. Some of the other coins that I'm looking at, I'll just be fully transparent with you. BNB, I think is looking like a decent opportunity. It may end up, I would be careful again, as we near 229, but I think it's plausible to grab 220 in the near future. And if we just look at this daily chart, again, probably likely to grab these lows again, but we've got these lows all the way back here from June as well that are untapped. So that could potentially be a target in the near future. Matic is another one. Matic is a lot of sell pressure from the Robinhood situation, as well as Celsius. And so, similar to BNB, equal lows untapped here, equal lows tapped down here. So something to be considered up there. Solana is very similar to Matic in terms of the Robinhood and Celsius for selling situation, as well as potentially FTX 2.0 to launch again. They may have to sell their soul. So equal lows down here at 1280, equal lows down here at 790. And then what's another one? No, those are actually the ones that I'm focusing on. ETHBTC, BTC, ETH, BNB, Matic, and Sol are the main ones that I'm following. I'm also tracking Pepe just because of the massive volatility swings. If you are bearish this, not a bad time to be bearish. A lot of charts looking like this. So if it breaks below this level, you pretty much got a massive gap all the way down to this point, 105 level. So we're at 1475. There's a lot of zeros. So I'm just calling it by whatever number is right over here. So we're at the 145 currently, and then 105 is certainly a bear target. If you are short Pepe. Now we could hold this level as it has been and launch up here. Certainly plausible. But it also could break down here and do that. So look out for a break here or hold. That'll be an interesting one. And then STX, I've been trading this too much, but I've found the volatility absolutely fascinating. It's not looking too pretty here. I don't even really have it charted too much. I just like following it because it's kind of like a Bitcoin proxy, but it still moves like a shitcoin. So we've obviously got these lows here. If you are short STX, not a bad time to be short. Tweezer top rejection right here. Zoom in a little bit, and then typically you target low end of the range for that. And then obviously if it broke below this range, if it broke right there, maybe it gets maybe there's a little stall right here. But yeah, so if we broke below the recent lows, target this level first, this level for volatility. So couple of altcoins for whatever, we'll leave those. Those are easy to draw again. If you're also learning like, why do I draw my line so quickly? I just matched it up with recent highs and recent lows. So this was the high before it launched. This was the low in this range before it launched. This was obviously the high before it launched, but this is more of a significant price considering it happened more recently. So, when you're drawing these lines, you want it to be highs and lows. And obviously if multiple points coincide, like here was the high, which also more or less coincide to this low. So if it does get down to 0.589, then I would expect that to be a pretty big level for price action. So just a small tidbit there, but probably end up, talking about that more in the future as we, probably move into some consolidation after some of this altcoin volatility. So Ethereum, not very bullish. Bitcoin, still not very bullish, but I'm not shorting it. I'm shorting altcoins, and I'll wait and be patient. It's long BTC. That could be today, could be tomorrow, could be Friday. But patience, I think, is a virtue here. If you are overzealous and you do think Bitcoin's going to hold 30K, probably where you'd want to make some spot buys, make some longs. But again, that's not how I'm going to trade it. I'm going to trade on confirmation of a break higher and target higher highs, or at least equal highs, I should say, and then maybe higher highs. Then if we get a break lower, I won't short Bitcoin. I'll just start staring at other altcoins and see which ones look, similar in terms of breaking that price action, and then short them too, like I did today. So good luck. Happy trading. See everybody tomorrow.